Alright, for the psychology project, I did the same character I did last year, which was Patrick Bateman, who is the main character in American Psycho. Who's Patrick Bateman? Patrick Bateman is the main character, as I said, in American Psycho, which is a book and a movie. He is played by the actor Christian Bale in the movie, and he has 3 noticeable disorders in both genres, the both book and movie. He will have antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder. These are never said in the film, but if you know the symptoms of each of these disorders, you can pick up on them throughout the film, which is the platform that I am focusing on. Alright, for the first disorder, we will be focusing on antisocial personality disorder, and it can be recognized by multiple of the following actions: failure to conform to social norms, deceitfulness, repeated lying, having aliases, and conning others for personal profit or pleasure. In the movie and the book, Bateman decides to lie about the blood in the sheets of his bed sheets as he takes them to the cleaners, and essentially it is not blood. It is, if I'm not mistaken, cranberry juice or grape juice. He goes back and forth, and he essentially murdered someone on them. He can have a negative impulse or failure to plan ahead. He does not have the safety for others as his best interest, which you should always have. But as you see, he says he tries to con a hooker back into the car and take her back to his house, and she doesn't want to because last time they interacted, she had to go to the hospital off some injuries. He can have a lack of remorse, which is something that he is very prominent with. He shows no emotion for this one whenever he breaks up with his fiancée. It is unclear how long they were together, but as a man in his mid-20s, he should have some sort of remorse for something of that stature. And the last one would be, as you have to be at least 18 years of age to be actually diagnosed with this or have these symptoms come into play in your life, essentially. And like I stated, he is in his mid-20s. How does antisocial personality disorder progress? It is a pervasive pattern, and these people have no disregard for or violation of the rights that begin in early childhood or adolescence and continues into adulthood. The DSM-5 describes this as a behavioral pattern that begins before age 15. So basically, you can start seeing early signs and hints of this disorder at an early age for people who can develop this later in life. The next disorder will be narcissistic personality disorder. The descriptions of this are they have an idea of being too important. Patrick believes that he has the best apartment, best business card, best clothes, best whatever, best body. He states that he can do 1,000 sit-ups every day. So that's something to be proud of, I guess, though. They can be preoccupied by fantasies of being a god, unlimited success, power, beauty, love, etc. And as it's stating in the beginning in the movie, of course, he says that you can always be better looking and you can always be thinner and in better shape. So, I mean, that's something that he definitely struggles with. They associate themselves with people with high authority, and Patrick is only seen with people that make as much money, if not more money, than he does. So he associates with only those people, and he goes later and kills a homeless man just because he's poor and homeless. Let's see. He can have a sense of entitlement. He believes that the restaurants around will if he makes a reservation, they will drop someone else that is not as important for his reservation. So that's something that he does probably on the daily basis because he's never seen working. He always is doing dinner reservations, drawing, or listening to music. He takes advantage of others. That's another sign. And he lacks empathy. So when Courtney, his fiance, tries to compliment him on his outfit, his attire, and stuff like that, he just doesn't acknowledge it. He just brushes it off, changes the conversation. Someone with this narcissistic personality disorder would be envious, and Patrick is definitely envious. He envies a business card of a fellow person that works in his accounting firm, and that's something that you shouldn't really envy, but he envies it and eventually makes an attempt at murder to kill this man. And the last one that I have listed will be arrogant and haughty behaviors, and that's just Patrick's personality. He's very arrogant, like I said, that's said, and he shows these things off multiple times, all the time. He always wears his very best and acts his very best and gets the very best taxi that he can find. It's the little things like that that he cherishes. The progression of narcissistic personality disorder is there is no change when something goes wrong or they know that they're hurting their friends, coworkers, or whoever is close around them, their family. They know their actions, they understand and know what they are doing and that it is wrong, but they don't care enough to change their actions. It's just they are constantly trying to be better and do better, but no matter what, they can never satisfy that need, and they don't care who gets in their way. That person's going to become out of their way. The final disorder that Patrick Bateman has is borderline personality disorder. This one is prominent. He has patterns of unstable relationships. He dumps his fiance and then he goes and sleeps with another man's fiance. He goes and gets a hooker 2 or 3 times a week. So little things like that. They're very strange and not normal, that's for sure. He has an unstable sense of identity. He says in the very beginning, where it's describing who the real Patrick Bateman is, he explains that there is no real him. It's just all an idea of who he is. There is nothing real. Another thing that Patrick can be is impulsive. Like I said before, he hires prostitutes and then he tries to convince these prostitutes to come back. And that's something that's not good. And Patrick acts on impulse a lot, whether he just has a sexual need or, as he believes, a murderous need that can't be fulfilled. It's just a hunger. He goes and gets a prostitute, might kill her. He will find someone that he's envious of and kill them. That's something that he does a lot, very much. He will have mood swings, and he's strolling about the city, just looking at the city life, and he looks at an ATM and it says "Feed me," and a cat walks by, a kitten, little baby kitten, and the ATM says "Feed me." So he makes an attempt to feed the ATM a cat. I don't know why a cat, but he tries to feed an ATM a cat. So, life to killing a cat, trying to give it to an ATM. He has a chronic feeling of being empty. And as he states at the end, there is no catharsis. His punishment continues, and he gains no deeper knowledge of himself or who he is. Like he says before, there is no him, so he kind of contradicts himself, but, you know. Anger issues, that's pretty obvious. He goes around killing people because of business cards and other random reasons, and times of paranoia, that is something that is very strange about this story of Patrick Bateman, it is believed that he didn't kill anyone, and everything that he did was all his imagination, and eventually when he snaps, it is all just, he just believes it all because he imagined it for so long, and he's just paranoid that the cops are coming for him, and he imagines helicopters and police cars and him blowing up police cars and stuff like that. So he's definitely the progression of borderline personality disorder. It is the key features of the personality disorder are impairments in personality, self, and interpersonal, and the functioning and the presence of pathological personality traits. So someone with this disorder has the inability to establish goals and aspirations, and has an unstable self-image of themselves. So he can have goals early in life, just make money, get girls, have sex, do drugs, just live, but those aren't really goals. He doesn't have stable goals such as quotas, because at an accounting firm, there's a quota you have to meet. As far as I know, there's some sort of quota, and he is never seen working. So he doesn't really have a goal. He just has money. Through Mr. Bateman's life was not privy to the audience, because we were thrown in whenever he was just starting his day, like it's something that we've seen before. So we were not given any background. We were just able to see his progression on how he progressed slowly and just started going downhill with these disorders, and they were becoming more prominent in his daily life. By the 3 disorders that Patrick has, how many other people in the real world are affected by them? For antisocial personality disorder, between 2.5 and 3.5%, and it's majority of males. For narcissistic personality disorder, about 6.2%, and this one is prominently males. It is I think it's like a 5-to-1 ratio of male to female who have narcissistic personality disorder. And for borderline personality disorder, about 1.6% males and females are both equally likely to discover this disease in their life. What causes the disorders? For antisocial personality disorder, the exact cause is not known. However, it can strive from other mental health issues, and it can come from an inherited trait. So something like his home life, or something that his dad had, or mother, or someone else down the family line, he could have inherited it. For narcissistic personality disorder, again, it's not known, but biological, genetic factors, and social factors can play a big part. In borderline personality disorder, causes are not fully known, but in addition to environmental factors and history of child abuse or neglect, it is possibly linked to genetics. That's the most prominent form that it can come from, that scientists have discovered.